record in the suburbanite newspaper circulated in the district at least 48 hours prior to the time of this meeting. If deemed necessary, the board may meet in executive session immediately following to discuss legal, HIV, personnel, and other matters exempted by statute from public information. Please join me in a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The official results of the November 11th, 2024 annual school board election for 2 full 3-year terms. Heather Garcia with 1,689 votes and Jennifer Mendoza with 1,648. That's a lot more. These were certified by the Bergen County Election Division. So I will finish my read of the office. You want to go down front? Can you go there, like on the camera? Oh.
I'm standing off camera.
You have to read this. Yeah. Repeat after me. I,
Heather Garcia,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Heather Garcia,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly
that I
swear
possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
for the office of the member of Board of Education,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly inform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I kept going.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. We're good?
Yeah, it's fine on me. Congratulations.
Thank you. Not sure I recited that example. Yeah.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a nomination for, we do a roll call of the new Board of Education. This is Jennifer Eisberg, President. This is Heather Garcia, President. This is Juliana Lee. Here. This is Jennifer Mendoza.
Here.
Mr. Omar Pedraza.
Here.
Mr. Michael Sprague.
Present.
Mrs. Kelly Wilson. Here. So I'll open the floor up to nominations for Board President. Do you have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Heather Garcia.
Go on second. Do we have any other nominations? Can I have a motion to close nominations and approve the election? I'm going to do a roll call. Would each please tell me who you vote for? There's only one nomination. Mrs. Jennifer Eisberg. Heather Garcia. Mrs. Garcia.
Heather Garcia.
Mrs. Lee.
Heather Garcia.
Mrs. Mendoza.
Heather Garcia.
Mr. Pedraza.
Heather Garcia.
Mr. Sprague.
Heather Garcia.
And Mrs. Wilson.
Heather Garcia.
Okay, congratulations. I'm going to turn the meeting over to you.
Okay, do I have? Okay. I am now going to open up nominations. Well, can I open up nominations for election of VP?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Sprague.
Okay, are there any other nominations for VP? Okay, can I have a motion to, can I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Now, can I have a motion to close elections for the VP?
Also,
Second?
second.
Okay. Can I have a roll call, please? And state who you're voting for.
Mrs. Eisberg, Michael Sprague, Mrs. Garcia,
Michael Sprague.
Mrs. Lee, Michael Sprague, Mrs. Mendoza,
Michael Sprague.
Mr. Pedraza,
Michael Sprague.
Mr. Sprague,
Michael Sprague.
Mrs. Wilson.
Okay. Yeah, let's go through the reorg and then we can just approve those.
So, the reorganization, resolutions, number 1 is the adoption of the parliamentary procedures known as Robert's Rules. It's widely accepted guidelines for conducting public meetings. Number 2 is the adoption of the code of ethics for the board members. Do you want me to read that, or is it?
Yeah, we read it.
You want me to read it?
Let's read it. Let's take the time to read it.
You gotta take the questions.
Yeah, I think it's good for the record.
The Norwood Board of Education adopts the code of ethics for school board members as per NJSA 18A 12-24.1 for the period of January 7th, 2025 through January 7th, 2026. The school board member shall abide by the following code of ethics. They will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures. Will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing. You will confine your board action to policy making, planning, and appraisal, and will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them. You'll carry out your responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with your fellow board members to see that they are well run. You will recognize that the authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises or take any private action that may compromise the board. You will refuse to surrender your independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups, or to use the school for personal gain or for the gain of friends. Hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which if disclosed would necessarily injure individuals or the school in all other matters. Provide accurate information and in concert with your fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for the school. Vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendations of the chief school administrator. Support and protect school personnel in proper performance of the duties. Refer all complaints to the chief school administrative officer and act on the complaints at public meeting only after failure of an administrative solution. Resolution number 3 is the proposed meeting schedule for the Board of Education for the next year. It will be published and posted on the website. Number 4 designates the Record and the Suburbanite as our official newspapers. Number 5 readopts all of the policies and regulations that the board previously has approved. Number 6 reappoints Valley Bank to be our banking institution. Number 7 authorizes the board president, myself, and the superintendent as official signatures on the warrants. Number 8 authorizes me to make transfers for payroll. Number 9 appoints Corzio, Bromberg, and Newman as our law firm as board general counsel. Number 10 is special counsel in a matter that has still been outstanding. Number 11 is special counsel, again, for an older matter, but as of 4:30 email I got today, there's an initial decision, so hopefully that'll be concluding. Number 12 is the appointment of our professional services, primarily our auditor, architect, health broker, etc. That list that's attached will be publicly advertised in accordance with statute. Number 13 is the standard operating procedures and the purchasing manual for the district. And both basically just set forth best practices for ensuring the appropriate administration of school funds. Number 14 appoints me as the school purchasing agent. Number 15 are all designated people to various positions that are outlined on the agenda. Number 16 is the authorization for the superintendent to do summer hires in between board meetings. Number 17 sets our home instruction rate at $55. 18 establishes a petty cash fund in the amount of $400. 19 is the continuation of our student activity fund. Number 20 is the reimbursement rate for mileage set forth by the state of New Jersey. 21 are rental rates for our buildings and grounds that were revised last school year. And those are all of our administrative reorganizations.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve reorganization items 1 through 21?
Second.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on items 1 through 21?
You know, on the calendar, would be a problem doing January 21st.
January 1st,
What?
the 20th. The 20th, you said, right?
21st to the 20th.
I don't have any issues with
It'll
that.
still be 2 weeks before the February.
You guys can let me know. I don't have any issues with that. Well,
We
if
could always-
we're doing it now, so, I mean, you could, oh, you don't have access to your calendar? Okay, do you want to, well, we could, can we table the meetings calendar?
I'd rather just
Change it?
Change it.
Okay, that's fine.
Rather, because then we can.
Okay, let's
post it
look
and-
after, but we'll check that. But for now, we'll leave it at the 21st, and then we can always change it with the 48 hours
The only
notice.
other one I would comment on now is November 11th is Veterans Day. I don't know if we should meet for Veterans Day. I'm not going to be here.
We'll make all the changes at once. Any other questions?
I just have a general question. In the past, we had appointed our auditor or insurance professionals at the reorganization meeting. Is there a reason we're not doing that?
It is on. It's the list that was attached to resolution.
Is it possible to move your microphone closer? We're having a hard time back here.
Which one?
Pretty much everybody, honestly.
No, I'm talking.
Resolution number 12 appoints all professional services, and there's a list attached, which is the auditor, the architect, the health broker, so on and so forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, pending the changes that we'll make on the schedule at a later point by next meeting, or because it'll be next meeting. Can I have a move, does anybody else have any questions? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Lee? Yes. Mrs. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Pedraza?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garcia?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna do personnel.
You have to do this, right?
Well, no, I don't even see the committee. Didn't see that. I don't know. What? Did I discuss that? Sorry, guys, I apologize. Oh, no, here they are. Committees, I'm gonna make a motion to table that till the next meeting, to decide who's being put on what committees. As always, board members, please reach out to me if you have a certain committee that you're interested in. I will try to do my best to put you on those committees, if possible. Can I have a motion to table committee assignments until our next meeting, whether on the 21st or the 28th? Okay, can I have a roll call on that then?
Mrs. Eisberg? Yes. Mrs. Lee? Yes. Mrs. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Pedraza?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garcia?
Yes. Okay, let's talk about liaisons. So Mike, I know you usually do the Bergen County one, right? So I'm assuming you'd want to stay on that.
I'll be happy to do it both unless somebody else wants to jump in. I mean, I'm going to all the meetings at the county level, and obviously I'm still on the board of directors for another year and a half, so whatever
Okay.
people want to do is fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with you doing it. If you bring back the same, you know, the same vote. Anyone else want to do that, or are you guys okay with Mike doing it? All right, so then let's put Mike in both positions. And then can I get an all in favor? Yeah, can I get an all in favor?
Yes. Any abstentions or?
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. You're gonna do administrative then? Go ahead.
Okay, first administrative item number 1 is a revised calendar for the 2025-2026 school year.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve administrative item 1? Second?
Second.
Does anybody have any questions about administrative item 1? Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisberg?
Yes?
Mrs. Lee?
Yes.
Mrs. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Pedraza?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garcia?
Yes. Okay, can we go to personnel?
Personnel items. Personnel item number 1 is resignation of a paraprofessional, wish her well. Item number 2 is a leave replacement for our media specialist. We're hiring part-time leave replacement, and that's through the period of the time of that leave. Item number 3 is the termination of employee 0728. That concludes our personnel items.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve personnel items 1 through 3? Second. Okay. Does anybody have questions on personnel items 1 through 3? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Eisberg? Yes. Mrs. Lee? Yes. Mrs. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Pedraza?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garcia?
Yes. Okay. Does the board have any old or new business they'd like to discuss?
I just briefly discussed at the CAL meeting, or the county leaders meeting I attended yesterday. One of the topics was the cell phone policies, which apparently there's legislation now pending, which may require all boards of education to create a cell phone policy, although not guide us in terms of what we put in the policy. So it may be that we want to try to get ahead of the curve at some point and start discussing a cell phone policy. It was a very interesting conversation because it kind of went from some people who thought it was absolutely needed to people who thought that we should trust kids and let them kind of learn, how to regulate themselves. So it was kind of an interesting conversation, but it appears that the legislature is going to jump in here at some point, perhaps during the remainder of this school year, with some legislation on this. So I'm just alerting the board to that.
Is there a comment?
Does New Jersey school boards have any recommendations for cell phone policy?
I don't think so. Normally, school board doesn't really get into policy like that we adopt. They get into more positions that they take. So they might say they feel it's a good idea to have a school cell phone policy or not, but they don't necessarily get into writing policy. That would normally come through with Strauss SMA. And I think right now everybody's just waiting to see what happens with the legislation, whether it does get enacted or not.
So we do have protocols in place for cell phones in school. It's in our student handbook. I would have to look to see if it attaches to a specific policy number. Students are not allowed to have their cell phones throughout the school day. We recently actually made an announcement to students during the course of the school day, encouraging them to reminding them of the policy, letting them know that first, in terms of our regulation and handling it, on the first time that they have a cell phone, it'll be taken from them and turned into the main office. On the second time, it'll be taken from them and handed to the main office, and a parent will have to recover the cell phone. So our students have been, pretty good at that over the past couple of days, and we made that announcement over the return from the recess, and hoping that works out. But I'll look at the policy in that aspect as well.
Yeah, what was interesting is in some of the districts with high schools, there was a comment made by one board member that they had, I guess, put this policy of banning the phones in effect last year, and at the end of the year, they did a survey, and there were a lot of students who felt relief at not having access to the cell phones because they weren't pressured to constantly be checking social media throughout the school day. So there was some group of students who actually thought it was a great policy because it gave them, I guess, the ability to concentrate more on schoolwork and not have to worry about the social media.
Yeah, that was a part of our announcement to our students as well, that this was not something necessarily punitive, but to return them, to release them from some of the pressures that being tied to their phones creates for them during the course of the school day, the distraction that it creates for them in their classes, and that their teachers care about them. It's not a matter of them trying to do something to interfere with something that's so important to all of us, but that it's providing them some relief in something that causes great stress for them throughout the course of their daily lives.
Okay, is there any other old or new business? Okay, I will make a motion to open to the public for public participation. Before we open, keep in mind you need to be present to comment. You have up to 5 minutes, and you need to state your name and address before commenting. Can I have a motion to open to the public? Second? Okay, we're open. Anybody liking to comment, that would wish to comment can come up.
Can I just say one thing before you start? I left the sign-in sheet, if you could just put your name and address there, just help me.
Wish I could do it now or after.
She said that or after. Either way, just if you could do it.
Okay, I will. Good evening, esteemed board members. My name is Dr. Anthony Hachmahalis, and I live here in town at 80 Cobblestone Crossing with my wife. I'll try. Can I take this?
You can take it off.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Can I restart my minutes, or? I'll try. Good evening, esteemed members of the Board of Education. My name is Dr. Anthony Hachmahalis, and I live here in town at 80 Cobblestone Crossing with my wife, Dr. Hachmahalis, and my 2 children, Aviva and Parker Hachmahalis. I stand before you this evening as a concerned parent, not just for my own child, but for every child in this district. This is not just about one incident. It's about the fundamental responsibility we all share in ensuring the safety and trust of our children in the schools entrusted to you. On December 17th, 2024, this board made a decision to approve a person by the initials JF, an individual with a history of terminations from multiple districts and a troubling arrest record. This information was easily accessible through a basic online search. Despite this, he was allowed to gain access to our parking lot, our school grounds, our school building, and to begin working with our children on January 2nd, 2025, only to be escorted from the building just 5 days later, today, on January 7th. Now his information appears on tonight's agenda as a termination. This situation leads me to ask, how did we get here? I believe this question points to a larger issue, one, again, about transparency, safety, and leadership. We must consider whether the proper background checks and safeguards were carried out in hiring. We must ask whether adequate systems were in place to ensure that individuals like JF, despite past errors and concerns, were properly vetted before being placed in any role. We dodged a bullet. Thankfully, nothing known to be unlawful was done. In our district, which has elected you, our school board members, although some without contest, we expect diligent oversight and trust. The expectation is clear: protect our children and safeguard our community. This isn't simply about the hire that occurred here. It's about all of us, parents, board members, district leadership, ensuring that safety is prioritized above everything else. This is a serious breakdown in the process, and it must be addressed head on. We cannot ignore the ripple effect it has on trust parents place in the district's leadership. I urge you, especially in the wake of such an election where the confidence of the parents was reaffirmed by your uncontested positions, to make this a priority. The questions I ask tonight are not just about one hire. They are about our duty to act and ensure safety, prevent errors, and hold ourselves accountable to the children in this district. It's a failure to the system we've upheld, and it was a lapse that should never have occurred. If this failure occurred, it begs the question, what else perhaps unknown has failed? And also what in the future may fail under this current arrangement? I ask the board to thoroughly review our policies and processes to ensure that something like this never happens again. I believe we are better than this. Our children deserve better than this. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment?
Hi, Emily Moylan, 48 Burlington Street. I'm not as well prepared as Anthony tonight. I just want to go on the record to say a couple of things that are very concerning to me. I stood in the same position at the last board meeting, and I was promised by everyone sitting in front of me that the reason Mr. Scheer is no longer here is because you take our children's well-being as the number one important thing in the school. And what happened today is ridiculous. I'd like to go on the record and just read what I found in an 11-second Google search. I'm shaking because the safety of our children in this school was compromised today. I know many of you are parents. It doesn't take 3 days or 5 days or 1 hour for something bad to happen. I did an 11-second Google search and found out that the person that was terminated today has assaulted a police officer, has burglarized, has assaulted another adult, has been terminated from 2 local school districts. So I'm wondering, where was that Google search? Where was the call to the other school districts where he was terminated? Where is I know you have in place something where you're supposed to check the Twitter, the Instagram. Where was that? That's what I'd like to know, and I'd like you to do better.
Excuse me?
Emily?
Just fine.
Emily, can you hear? Thank you. Okay, anybody else like to comment?
Rachel Skank, 115 Kensington Avenue. I just want to reiterate what Emily said. You know, at the last meeting, I got up here and talked about how, you know, we make mistakes, things happen, people do things. We have to be better. You know, this is not just about parents. This is not about the students. It's about our administration showing with their leadership what our kids need to be like. And if we're all bickering and fighting and placing blame and lying and telling truths, we're not going to raise good kids like we're all hoping to raise. We're hoping that these kids come out of here stronger, better, wiser, proud of this school. I moved back to this town because I wanted my kids to go where I went. This is a wonderful school district, and where my kids are right now is not the school district I want them to be in. I don't know what's going on here, but we need to make this better, and we need to do this for our kids because I don't feel safe sending my child here anymore. Today, what happened is disgusting, and I'm sorry. I understand mistakes happen, but it's horrible. How can you allow somebody to come in, whether fingerprints were lagged, whether background checks were lagged? If you don't have those to coach in this town, you're not allowed on the field. How are you allowed in a school building with children if we're waiting on fingerprints or we're waiting on a background check. We need to wait, we need to be patient. And if we can't hire people that have good background checks, we don't have the time to wait, then we need to figure something else out. This isn't working where we're firing people and we're not getting good quality staff people back. We pay a lot of taxes in this town. People are proud to live here. You know, and if we're hiring people that are getting fired 4 or 5 days later, it's just disgusting. I have nothing else to say.
Any other comments?
Hi, Nicole Hill, President of the Norwood Education Association. I stand here tonight, thank you for saying that we dodged a bullet, in concern of all of the staff members and the students in this building. We dodged a bullet today because of a teacher bringing these concerns and the Google search to administration today. I'd like to know what the vetting process is in hiring staff. Can anyone answer that?
Let's comment.
We're not allowed to ask questions.
Yeah, they don't answer us.
So,
I'd like to know.
if there's something that we can add when we close, it'll be added, but
Okay.
this is comment.
Thank you. Who's held responsible for this mistake, this overlook? Because you let a principal go not too long ago, 4 days before we left for the holiday break, over something barely simple, let alone this. So I am sure somebody has to be held accountable for this. It's not Mr. Shear. That's not computer. It's not us. You know, and there's lawsuits, affirmative actions, and everything else that staff members, you know, have brought on since September. Something's going on, and it's not fair. It's not fair to the staff, and it's not fair to the students. These parents are 100% right. They deserve better, these kids. We deserve better. We deserve for you to do your due diligence. I get it, it's an unpaid job and it's a thankless job. My best friend is on the Board of Education in the town we live in. I understand. But you need to look at all the facts and not get it from one source. We, as an association, are more than willing. I've said this at board meetings for the last couple of months, years now. We are more than willing to sit down with you and talk to you about the climate, what we think we need. We're on the front lines every day with their children who we treat like ours. And today what happened, it is really unacceptable. We did dodge a bullet and it's a shame. Thank you.
I forgot to add one thing, not related to this.
Hold on. You can't just start talking at give it a second. You need to state your name again. It's a
Rachel
different
Skank,
comment.
115 Kensington Avenue. With all the things going on in the school, I keep forgetting to bring this up at a meeting. I'm just curious why this year, which it makes sense to me, but the price doesn't, why we're having a fee for Chromebooks. Why are we paying $50 every year for a Chromebook that costs about $200? They're used, they're not perfect condition. If we're gonna get to keep these at the end, okay, great, that's fine. But I don't think we do, and I just wanna understand what the $50 fee is. I know at the high school for a MacBook, it's $75. So for the types of computers and the pricing, it does not make sense.
Dear Joe, you might want to wait till the superintendent comes back.
I don't know why he left halfway through us speaking, it's rude.
I'd wait.
No, you can comment. He just ran to the
No, it's okay, we'll wait. We'll wait. Maybe a string expands.
Okay, Jojo.
There you go, now you go, Jojo.
Deirdre Kessler, 35 Windsor Court. Like other parents, I am concerned about what happened today. And I'm not saying this as a joking matter, but I did bring up I did a Google search once on an employee that was, and I did my due diligence, and Ms. Gross, she thanked me in her office. And I was told Norwood would then start Google searching people. Steve Fogarty, who's on here to be approved, of one of the 3 law firms, told me to sit down. Steve Fogarty and myself both graduated from Bergenfield High School in Rocco Montesano Stadium, named after a superintendent. Bergenfield has one of the highest return rates of staff and administration. And I keep saying that at every meeting. I know how difficult it is for you to hire staff because they are so underpaid. Our aides are so underpaid for what we're asking them to do. So there's not a ton of people applying for those positions. But when they walk into this building, whoever it is, if it is an aide, if it is a teacher, if it is an administrator, they need to be treated with respect. And I am so upset that this happened. We are barely, anybody who works in a public school knows that we are barely holding on. And this shows you how much you need to negotiate contracts for these people that are acceptable rates for the quality work that they're doing. And I am so upset that our children were put in this position. I don't understand how somebody could not do a Google search. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Okay, I'll make a motion to close to the public. Second? Julie? Okay, we're close to the public for a public comment. Do you want to respond in any way?
Yeah, I just want to be clear that the matter that occurred, that was communicated out to our community and faculty and staff proactively earlier this afternoon, just to respond to a couple of things that came up a short time ago. No staff member is ever allowed or permitted to work in our building without us having the appropriate state-approved evidence that that staff member is has been fingerprinted or has evidence of fingerprinting. So we would never have someone in our building who's not allowed to work in the state of New Jersey. We have processes that require, in July, we spent a significant amount of time putting in place documents in order to ensure that we do a thorough background check of faculty and staff that are being hired into our district. We keep that documentation in staff members' personnel files. What I can tell you is that there are things as well that create delays in information that you might get back at times for personnel where you need to hire imminently in order to ensure that our students have persons in place. Again, those individuals must have state-approved fingerprinting to ensure the safety of our students in our district. Any issue in terms of this concern in terms of us our practice in ensuring that we are doing thorough background checks of employees coming to the district is continuously reviewed. We're continuously looking to improve the steps and processes that we take. We take communicating with our families about emergency incidents or events or any kind of issue related to student safety seriously. And we will continue to be transparent and communicative to the best of our ability when it comes to personnel matters.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, I will adjourn this meeting at 6:47 PM. We don't have executive, right? We do have executive? Okay, but no action. Okay, we're gonna go into executive, no action will be taken when we come out, 6:47.
How do we trust our kids to vote?
Can I have a motion?